This video provides brief information about the heavy machine guns used by the armies of the major nations in combat during World War I.
The Maschinengewehr 08 was the standard heavy machine gun of the Imperial German Army, officially adopted in 1908 and used extensively throughout World War I. It was a German-built version of the Maxim machine gun, originally designed by Hiram Stevens Maxim, whose recoil-operated automatic firing system revolutionized modern warfare. The MG08 represented Germany's adaptation of this proven design, optimized for mass production and sustained battlefield use. The MG08 operated using a short recoil toggle lock mechanism, in which the barrel and bolt recoiled together briefly after firing, before unlocking and chambering the next round. This system allowed reliable, continuous automatic fire and was one of the most mechanically distinctive features of Maxim-based machine guns. The weapon fired from a closed bolt and was capable of sustained fire over long periods, making it extremely effective in defensive positions. One of the defining features of the MG08 was its water-cooled barrel system. The barrel was surrounded by a steel water jacket that held approximately 3.7 liters of water, preventing overheating during prolonged firing. This allowed the MG08 to maintain a steady rate of fire for extended durations, which was particularly important during trench warfare, where machine guns were often required to fire continuously to repel infantry assaults. The MG08 was chambered for the 7.92 by 57mm Mauser cartridge, the standard German rifle round of the period. Ammunition was fed through fabric or metal belts, typically holding 250 rounds. The cyclic rate of fire averaged 450 to 500 rounds per minute, though trained crews could sustain controlled fire for long periods without mechanical failure. The effective firing range was approximately 2,000 meters, while the maximum range exceeded 3,700 meters, especially when firing indirectly. In terms of physical characteristics, the MG08 had an overall length of about 1,175 millimeters, with a barrel length of roughly 721 millimeters. The weight of the gun alone was approximately 26 to 28 kilograms, and when mounted on its standard Schlitten mount, along with water and ammunition, the total combat weight often exceeded 60 kilograms. Due to this considerable weight, the MG08 required a crew of at least 4 soldiers, including a gunner, assistant gunner, and ammunition carriers. The MG08 was most commonly mounted on a heavy steel Schlitten mount that provided excellent stability and allowed precise fire control. While this mount made the weapon extremely accurate and deadly in fixed positions, it also reduced mobility. As a result, the MG08 was primarily employed in defensive roles, where it dominated no man's land and inflicted devastating casualties on advancing enemy troops. During World War I, the MG08 became a symbol of industrialized warfare. German defensive doctrine relied heavily on machine guns, and production increased dramatically as the war progressed. Early in the war, Germany possessed only a limited number of machine guns, but by 1918, the MG08 had become widespread across infantry units. It was manufactured primarily by Deutsche Waffen- und Munitionsfabriken, or DWM, and the Spandau Arsenal, which is why Allied soldiers often referred to it simply as the Spandau. Several variants of the MG08 were developed during the war. The most notable was the MG0815, a lighter, more portable version designed to increase infantry mobility. Despite weight reductions, it remained heavy by modern standards, but marked an important step toward the concept of the general-purpose machine gun. Another variant, the MG0818, eliminated the water cooling system in favor of air cooling, though it saw limited service. After World War I, the MG08 remained in use by various forces and continued to serve in secondary roles within Germany until it was eventually replaced by more modern machine gun designs. Its influence, however, was long-lasting. The MG-08 demonstrated the decisive impact of machine guns on modern combat and played a key role in shaping infantry tactics throughout the 20th century. In conclusion, the German MG-08 was a powerful, reliable, and technologically advanced weapon for its time. Its combination of sustained fire capability, mechanical reliability, and defensive effectiveness made it one of the most significant military firearms of World War I, and a key example of how machine guns transformed battlefield warfare.
The Vickers Machine Gun, officially designated Vickers Mk1, is one of the most famous and reliable heavy machine guns in military history. It was developed in the United Kingdom and formally adopted by the British Army in 1912. The design was based on the earlier Maxim machine gun, but engineers at Vickers significantly refined the mechanism, making it lighter, stronger, and far more reliable for sustained battlefield use. Because of these improvements, the Vickers Mk1 served as the standard British heavy machine gun throughout the First World War, the Second World War, and for many years afterward. The Vickers Mk1 operates on a recoil-operated system. When a round is fired, the barrel and bolt recoil together for a short distance before the locking mechanism unlocks, ejecting the spent cartridge case and chambering a new round from the ammunition belt. This system proved extremely dependable, even in harsh environments such as mud, sand, extreme cold, and prolonged combat conditions. One of the most distinctive features of the Vickers Mk1 is its water-cooled barrel. The barrel is surrounded by a water jacket that prevents overheating and allows the weapon to fire continuously for long periods without loss of accuracy or mechanical failure. The Vickers Mk1 was chambered for the .303 British 7.7 by 56 mm R cartridge and fed from fabric or metal ammunition belts. Its cyclic rate of fire was approximately 450 to 500 rounds per minute, a relatively moderate rate that helped conserve ammunition while maintaining effective suppressive fire. The effective firing range was about 2,000 meters, while the maximum range of the bullet could exceed 4,000 meters under ideal conditions. This made the Vickers highly effective for defensive fire, long-range suppression, and indirect fire missions. In terms of construction and weight, the Vickers Mk1 was a robust but heavy weapon. The gun itself weighed approximately 18 to 20 kilograms, and when mounted on its tripod, the total weight increased to around 33 to 40 kilograms. Due to this weight and the need to manage ammunition and cooling water, the Vickers was operated by a crew of 3 to 6 soldiers, typically consisting of a gunner, assistant gunner, and ammunition carriers. During prolonged firing, steam produced by boiling water was often directed away through a hose, which prevented the crew's position from being easily detected. The greatest strength of the Vickers Mk1 was its exceptional reliability and durability. Historical records describe instances where Vickers machine guns fired tens of thousands of rounds continuously over many hours, limited only by the availability of ammunition and water. This remarkable endurance made the weapon especially valuable in trench warfare, where sustained defensive fire was essential to stopping enemy infantry assaults. In conclusion, the Vickers machine gun stands as one of the most successful and enduring heavy machine guns ever produced. Its rugged construction, water-cooled barrel, reliable recoil system, and ability to deliver long-lasting, accurate fire earned it a legendary reputation. The Vickers Mk1 not only played a decisive role in both world wars, but also influenced the development of later machine gun designs, securing its place as a classic and iconic weapon in military history.
The Hotchkiss M1914 is a French-designed heavy machine gun that became one of the standard machine guns of the French Army during World War I and continued to see service in various conflicts throughout the first half of the 20th century. Developed by the Hotchkiss AC Company, the M1914 was an evolution of earlier Hotchkiss models and was highly regarded for its reliability, durability, and relatively simple mechanism. Its design is based on a gas-operated, air-cooled system with a distinctive metal strip feed that holds 24 rounds. Unlike belt-fed systems used by other contemporary machine guns, the Hotchkiss M1914 used rigid metallic strips that helped prevent jamming and made the weapon easier to transport and maintain in harsh battlefield conditions. The gun fired the standard French 8mm Lebel cartridge, which was a full-power rifle round, providing substantial range and stopping power. The M1914 was mounted on a tripod for stability, although lighter mounts and wheeled carriages were also used for more mobile operations. Its rate of fire was moderate, around 450 rounds per minute, which was slower than some of its contemporaries, but contributed to improved accuracy and reduced barrel overheating. The effective range of the Hotchkiss M1914 was approximately 2,000 meters when used in a sustained defensive role, and it was capable of reaching targets at up to 3,800 meters in optimal conditions. One of the key features of the Hotchkiss M1914 was its air-cooled barrel with an innovative finned design that allowed prolonged firing without the need for a water jacket, making it lighter and easier to handle in the field compared to water-cooled machine guns like the German MG-08. The weapon saw extensive use during World War I, where it became the primary French heavy machine gun, providing both defensive and offensive fire support. It was deployed in fixed positions, often in trenches, and its reliability in mud, dirt, and adverse weather conditions made it a favorite among French troops. After World War I, the M1914 continued in service with the French Army and was exported to various countries, including Belgium, Greece, Poland, and Japan, where it was adopted and sometimes modified to suit local requirements. During World War II, it saw action with French, Vichy French, and Free French forces, as well as in secondary roles with other armies that had previously purchased it. Its longevity can be attributed to its robust construction, ease of maintenance, and effectiveness as a defensive weapon. In terms of technical specifications, the M1914 weighs approximately 48 kilograms, including the tripod, making it relatively heavy but stable when firing. Its overall length is 1,230 millimeters, and the barrel length is 720 millimeters. The weapon operates with a gas-operated action and fires from an open bolt. It is fed by 24-round metal strips and is chambered for the 8x50mm R cartridge. The cyclic rate of fire is about 450 rounds per minute, while its sustained rate of fire is lower due to the necessity of changing strips and managing barrel heat. The M1914 was equipped with iron sights with adjustable rear sights for range, allowing accurate fire at long distances. Its design emphasizes reliability over high mobility, making it well-suited for defensive positions, fortifications, and static machine gun nests. Overall, the M1914 represents a key development in early 20th century automatic weapons. Its combination of durability, moderate rate of fire, and innovative feeding mechanism made it an essential tool for the French Army during World War I and ensured its continued relevance in the interwar period and beyond. The M1914 is remembered not only for its battlefield performance, but also as an example of French engineering that prioritized reliability and practicality under the most challenging combat conditions. It played a significant role in shaping the tactics of machine gun warfare, contributing both to defensive strategies and the evolution of automatic weapons technology.
The Colt Browning M1895, also famously nicknamed the Potato Digger, is a mechanically operated machine gun developed at the end of the 19th century and widely used in the early 20th century. Its designer, the renowned American firearms inventor John M. Browning, is celebrated for his innovative contributions to small arms development. The Colt Browning M1895 was primarily developed as a machine gun and underwent initial trials by the United States Army starting in 1895, later being adopted by several other countries. What makes this weapon particularly unique is its gas-operated action, which allows it to fire in both semi-automatic and fully automatic modes, a remarkable feature for its time. The M1895 operates using a gas mechanism that channels a portion of the propellant gases from each fired round to cycle the bolt, eject the spent cartridge, and chamber a new round. The nickname "potato digger" arose from the distinctive movement of the bottom-mounted lever, which swings downward with each shot in a motion reminiscent of a manual potato harvester. This weapon was mainly intended for infantry use and medium-range engagements, providing reliable automatic fire where needed. In terms of specifications, the Colt Browning M1895 was originally chambered for the .30-40 Krag cartridge, but some variants were adapted for the .303 British and 8mm Lebel cartridges to suit the needs of foreign armies. The weapon measured approximately 1.27 meters, 50 inches in length, and weighed around 15 kilograms, 33 pounds, making it relatively portable for its class. Its rate of fire was roughly 450 to 500 rounds per minute, which was considered high for the period, and its effective range reached about 1,800 meters or 1,970 yards. The gun typically used 25-round cloth or metal belt-fed ammunition, enabling sustained fire without frequent reloading. The construction of the M1895 relied on durable steel, allowing it to endure extended use and perform reliably in various battlefield conditions. For transport and deployment, the gun could be mounted on a tripod or bipod, facilitating stability and mobility for infantry units. The Colt Browning M1895 saw service in World War I and was adopted by several nations during subsequent conflicts, earning a reputation for reliability and effectiveness in combat. In conclusion, the Colt Browning M1895 Potato Digger stands out as an innovative and effective machine gun of its era. Its gas-operated mechanism, high rate of fire, robust construction, and availability in multiple calibers made it a significant weapon in military history. Its mechanical design and operational performance continue to make it a relevant subject of study for those interested in the development of firearms and early 20th century military technology.
The Schwarzlose MG M.07 was a medium machine gun developed in the early 20th century and became one of the most important automatic weapons of the Austro-Hungarian army during the First World War. Designed by German weapons engineer Andreas Wilhelm Schwarzlose, the machine gun was originally patented in 1902 and later sold to the Austrian arms manufacturer Österreichische Waffenfabriksgesellschaft of Steyr, which began production in 1905. After extensive trials, the military adopted the original model as the M0712, and in 1912 an improved version was introduced as the M0712, which would serve as the standard machine gun for Austro-Hungarian forces throughout World War I and beyond. The Schwarzlose MG M0712 distinguished itself from many contemporary designs by its unusual operating mechanism. Instead of the more common gas-operated or recoil systems, it used a toggle-delayed blowback action. This meant that the bolt was never fully locked during the firing cycle. Rather, a heavy bolt, a strong return spring, and a retarding lever slowed the opening of the breech long enough to allow safe extraction of the fired cartridge. This approach was uncommon for full-powered rifle cartridges and required careful engineering to function reliably. Early versions of the gun also featured a cartridge oiling system, which applied lubricant to cases before chambering in order to ease extraction and reduce the risk of case rupture. The M0712 was primarily designed as a water-cooled, belt-fed machine gun capable of sustained fire in defensive and support roles.
It fired the rimmed 8x50mm R Mannlicher cartridge, which was standard for the Austro-Hungarian army at the time, and used non-disintegrating cloth belts that held up to 250 rounds. The water jacket surrounding the barrel was essential in controlling heat during prolonged firing, and the weapon was typically mounted on a tripod to provide stability. One of the most significant improvements of the M07-12 over its predecessor was an increased rate of fire. While the original M07 had a relatively low cyclic rate, the 07-12 model achieved around 400 rounds per minute in its initial configuration. During the course of the First World War, further refinements, including stronger mainsprings, pushed the maximum practical rate of fire closer to 500 to 580 rounds per minute in field service. Physically, the weapon was heavy and robust, reflecting its role as a crew-served support gun rather than a light infantry automatic. With its tripod and water cooling system attached, the overall system could weigh well over 40 kilograms, more than 90 pounds. The gun itself measured approximately 945 to 1,067 millimeters in length, with a barrel around 526 to 530 millimeters long. The weight and bulk required a dedicated crew, usually 4 to 6 soldiers, to operate effectively, including a gunner, assistant gunner, and ammunition bearers. In use, the Schwarzlose MG M.07 was considered robust and reliable under many conditions, though it had notable drawbacks. Its reliance on oiling and cloth belts could lead to malfunctions in cold, wet, or muddy environments, and it was often seen as inferior in precision and ammunition handling compared to contemporaries like the German MG-08. Despite these limitations, its simple construction, only a handful of major moving parts, made it easier to manufacture and maintain than some competing designs. The weapon's service life extended well beyond World War I. Austria-Hungary exported the M07-12 to Allied nations such as Bulgaria and the Ottoman Empire, and after the dissolution of the dual monarchy, it was adopted and locally produced under license or converted to various calibers in countries including Sweden, the Netherlands, Greece, Romania, and Czechoslovakia. Swedish production, known as the Kulspruta M1914, remained in service for decades and is still symbolically represented on Swedish machine gunner marksmanship medals. The Schwarzlose MG M07-12 also saw continued use into World War II, particularly with nations that had stockpiles or licensed production, and even captured examples were used by German forces late in the war. Over time, many were converted to fire different ammunition types, such as 7.92 by 57mm Mauser or updated rimless cartridges, enhancing interoperability with local infantry rifles. In summary, the Schwarzlose MG M07-12 stands as an innovative and historically significant machine gun that bridged early automatic weapons technology and the evolving demands of modern warfare. Its unique delayed blowback design, long production life, and wide service history across multiple nations make it a key example of early 20th century small arms development.
The Fiat Revelli Modello 1914 was an Italian medium machine gun that played a significant role in the Italian army during World War I and to some extent in World War II. Designed by Italian engineer Abbiele Revelli and manufactured by the Fiat company, the weapon was officially adopted by the Italian military in 1914, hence its designation. The development of the Modello 1914 was influenced by the tactical needs of the Italian army, which required a robust, reliable, and relatively light machine gun capable of providing sustained fire for infantry units in both defensive and offensive operations. The weapon was chambered for the 6.5 by 52mm Carcano cartridge, which was the standard rifle round of the Italian army at the time. One of the most distinctive features of the Fiat Revelli Modello 1914 was its unique feeding system. It used a peculiar 50-round flat side-mounted magazine that was inserted horizontally.
This system, while innovative, was prone to jamming and often criticized for its lack of reliability under battlefield conditions, especially in the harsh environments of the Italian front in World War I. The Modello 1914 employed a water cooling system with a cylindrical jacket surrounding the barrel, allowing for sustained fire over longer periods without overheating, which was a common problem with air-cooled machine guns of the era. The gun operated on a delayed blowback action, which was unusual for machine guns and contributed to its complex mechanical design. The delayed blowback mechanism allowed the gun to fire at a moderate rate while reducing the risk of excessive wear on components, but it required meticulous maintenance and precise handling. The weapon had a cyclic rate of fire of approximately 400 to 500 rounds per minute, which was lower than some contemporary machine guns, but this slower rate was somewhat compensated by its capability for continuous fire with water cooling. The effective range of the Fiat Revelli Modello 1914 was around 1,500 meters, and it was usually deployed with a bipod or tripod, depending on tactical needs. In addition, the gun was relatively heavy, weighing around 27 kilograms without the tripod, which limited its mobility and made it less suitable for rapid redeployment during fast-moving operations. Despite its mechanical quirks, the Fiat Revelli Modello 1914 was widely used during World War I, serving on the mountainous Italian front against Austro-Hungarian forces. Soldiers valued its powerful, sustained fire, but they also often complained about frequent jams caused by the magazine system and the accumulation of fouling from the ammunition. The gun underwent several modifications during its service life to improve reliability, including changes to the magazine and enhancements in the feeding mechanism. By the time of World War II, the Modello 1914 was largely obsolete, replaced by more modern machine guns, but it still saw limited use in second-line units and defensive positions. The Fiat Revelli Modello 1914 is historically significant as one of the few machine guns of its era to combine water cooling with a delayed blowback system, representing an experimental approach to automatic weapon design in the early 20th century. Its design influenced later Italian machine guns, though its operational shortcomings highlighted the importance of simplicity and reliability in combat weapons. In terms of specifications, the Fiat Revelli Modello 1914 had an overall length of approximately 1,170 millimeters, with a barrel length of 780 millimeters. It fired the 6.5 by 52 millimeter Carcano cartridge with a muzzle velocity of around 700 meters per second. The gun could sustain fire for long periods due to its water cooling jacket, although overheating could still occur during extremely prolonged engagements. The side-mounted 50-round magazine limited the practical rate of fire, and the weapon required a crew of at least 2 soldiers, one to fire and the other to load and maintain the gun. The machine gun could be mounted on either a light tripod for field use or a heavier tripod for fortified positions. Overall, the Fiat Revelli Modello 1914 is remembered as a historically important Italian machine gun, representing both the innovative engineering and the operational challenges of early 20th century automatic weapons. Its combination of water cooling, delayed blowback action, and side-mounted magazine make it a unique example of World War I firearms technology.